I don't know how far I got, so I'm just gonna redo this. All right, drink my double espresso without milk from my new Nespresso machine. Love it. Oh my goodness, that might be dangerous for me, but here we are. Sorry, I'm on like day 2-3 here, so I apologize. It's looking a hot mess. I almost thought about putting it up, but then I was like, whatever. All right, hello and welcome. In today's video, I figured I would do a little speed review of the previous quarter, or the first quarter of 2022, the eyeshadow palettes that I have received and tried over the last 3 months. I figured since I'm a little behind, I took a little time off there during the winter. I figured I'd just kind of rank and give you overall thoughts on the palettes that I've received and tried, or at least know more about the brand, to give you a little update or my opinion. So we're gonna try to make this quick. So again, if you like this kind of content, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. I'd love for you to join the family, turn on notifications so you're aware of my content. And otherwise, let's just get right into this video. No need to waste time. So stay tuned. So yes, like I said, we're gonna kind of do a speed review here of the palettes that I've received January, February, March of 2022, the first quarter of 2022, and kind of give you my overall thoughts. Very speed review type video, because otherwise this would take forever. So I'm gonna try to make this kind of quick. And then if there's anything specifically that I haven't already reviewed or done a tutorial on, or given more thoughts on, if there is anything of these that you would like to see in depth, then definitely let me know down below. So I figured I love eyeshadow palettes, hopefully you do too. So this is, if any way I can find to talk about, discuss, show my eyeshadow palettes, since I have tons, then I'd like to do it. I want to do it, so here we are. So I'm going to start at the lowest. I'm not going to number these because I've got too many. I haven't counted them all, so I have no idea what number these are. But if I can, or if I get a chance to count them all at the end, then I will number these as we go. But I'm going to rank my least favorite to my most favorite. So, okay. So here we go. Starting at the lowest ranking, I have the Essence. These are the two newest 6pan palettes they have. The Nothing Compares to Nude and the My Rose Will Go On. I do like the green eyeshadow palette. I can't remember which one it's, what it's called right now. These ones though underwhelmed me. The rose one, it's just so light. So maybe as a companion palette this might work, but I wasn't impressed. And this nude one, same thing, it's just so light. There's not much of a transition, nothing really to work with. So not that the formula's bad, but again, it's not like I can just use these palettes and that's it, one and done. I pretty much have to combine them with other palettes to make them work. And out of all of the great palettes I have here, they're just my least favorite. Nothing really wrong with them, they're just at the bottom of my list. So that's the least favorite. All right, so the next one here, I have tried some products from Doll 10 Beauty. This is called the Doll Squad. It is a palette of theirs, a very nice neutral palette. It is pretty, and nothing really wrong with it, but again, it is just another basic neutral palette. I don't know if there are more shimmer or metallic shades. They are nice, but again, just as far as formula, nothing wrong with it. It's just, as far as out of all of these palettes I have, just not my favorite. Not a bad palette, but just not my favorite. So that is the, next palette on my list. All right, next on my list here are e.l.f. Cosmetics. I did try the Cookies and Dream, I think it's called. Yeah, Cookies and Dreams palette, and then I did get a little quad. I figured I'd kind of put these together. Not that there's anything really wrong with it, but I'm just really not into blue shadows, and out of this, there's 4 of the 8 shadows are blue tones. So just really not my color story. And then again, nothing wrong with this little quad, but I figured I'd kind of put these together. This isn't bad for like on the go, but I mean, nothing special about it. It's just compared to all the other stuff I have, it's just more at the bottom of my list. So that's next. Next on my list is Colored Raine. I have 2 of their more neutral palettes that they came out with, I think more recently. They're Rebellious Nudes and Neutral Chic. They are both very pretty palettes. The only reason I'm ranking this a little bit low is the tones in here, that more yellow based. It's just not the ones I reach for more. I'm more of a either red toned brown, purple toned brown. Those kind of colors, more neutral to cool tone palettes, are more my thing. These shimmers at the top, metallic shimmer shades. They are really, really pretty. I will give it that. But again, out of these ones that I would probably reach for more, these just are lower on the list. And then again, this one, the mattes are really, I mean, they're nice. But again, these shadows are just a bit, again, very warm toned and just not the looks that I typically put together. So the formula's good. And overall, I do like Colored Raine. I have the Queen of Hearts or whatever it's called palette. I've had that for a couple of years now. I really enjoy that. It's a beautiful palette. But again, just out of all the shadows I have here, just a little bit lower on the list. But a good quality. Nothing wrong with it. All right, so this is where it's going to start to get a little bit harder because I think most of the rest of these I do like. I mean, none of these I don't like. It's just ones I like more than others. It's going to start to get harder here though as we go. But yeah, so the next one is LA Girl. This is the Nudie Cutie palette. I do like these palettes. They're like a plastic. Do come with mirrors. I do really like their palettes in this format. This one is a pretty kind of peachy, neutral palette. The only reason this is a little bit lower again, just because I have other palettes that I reach for more. And I am finding the more I'm using their formula, it's just, I don't know, I like the metallics, but sometimes they don't tend to stay as long as some of my other, they tend to blend away a little bit after a while. They're kind of chunky. So just depending on what you like. Not a bad palette, but again, out of these other ones, it's just lower on my list. So it is a pretty palette though, I will say. If you like neutrals and more of that like peachy tone neutral, then I think you'd really like this. So next, a palette that actually kind of surprised me was this little Essence Coffee to Glow palette. I was really surprised. I actually really like this palette, and for a little palette, I think the tones in here are really nice. So I think I would say I wish this shade was maybe just a tad bit darker, a little deeper to really give definition, dimension to the eyes. It does have one of those weird little like shadows, kind of reminds me of Huda Beauty and the ones she puts in those nude palette, and you know those ones, the bigger palette she has. It has that same kind of shadow, which I don't use, but the rest of them, actually these metallics were really nice. I was really surprised. So this would be a great little on-the-go palette. So I was pleasantly surprised with this. A good little palette. So I'm definitely enjoying that. All right, so next on my list is Glaminatrix. This is Glaminatrix Cosmetics is an indie brand. This is the Silent Night palette. It is a really pretty palette. The only reason I'm putting this lower on the list is because majority of these shadows are not colors that I would wear. I'm not gonna wear this color Slay, which is a blue. That's just not my thing. I'm not really into greens like that. I'm more into like grungy greens or like olive greens or yellowish greens, you know, those tones. But this is like true green, like evergreen. I'm not really into that. Not into reds. I don't like the way they stain. So honestly, I really got this palette for the multi-chromes and like the special shades, which there are 4 of them total. So again, just because it's not a palette that I would be able to use by itself in a color story that I love, is the only reason I put this lower. But I do really enjoy Glaminatrix. I have some of their single shadows, and then at some point I do hope, I think I saw Lauren May talked about or showed, kind of revealed, secretly kind of revealed a possible neutral palette I think they're coming out with this summer maybe. So I will be interested in that if that comes out. So, but this color story, it's just the only reason it's a little lower, just not my color story. So, but the quality is good. Next on my list here is Ace Beauté. I do have several of their palettes. These are the newer ones I've received. And the reason I actually picked up some more is the Tropical Vibes palette came back in stock. Beautiful. But again, the reason it's a little bit lower is it's just not a color story that I am going to routinely dive into, but it's beautiful. I will give it that. Beautiful, great quality, nothing bad to say about it. And then while I was at it, they did have a sale on their Oceanic palette, so I did pick this up. This is the original formula, and then this is the new reformulated palette, the Tropical Vibes, and then again, Oceanic is the old one. And then I also picked up the Floral Vintage palette, which out of all of them is probably the one I would wear the most. I did make a look with this one specifically, and really pretty. I do enjoy their formula. I had one palette I got like the end of last year. Can't remember the name of it right now. Insert it if I can remember, but beautiful palette. And I was like, those metallics were like, ooh, out of this world foiled. So anyways, I do enjoy their formula. I enjoy their palettes, but again, just the color stories are a little bit, I love my neutrals. I love neutrals with pops of color. So that's just kind of my vibe. That's just what I like. So that's again why this is a little bit more in the middle. Oh, okay, so this is where it's going to start to get really hard, because these are all palettes that I really, really like, you know, brands that I really, really like, that I've had really good luck with, just enjoy overall. So, whew, again, yeah, I'm gonna struggle here a little bit with these. I'm gonna go next with Beauty Bay Love Notes palette. The main reason, I love the color story. It's a great little palette. It has this purples and pinks, those colors that I really enjoy. I just find that the lasting power probably isn't as good on these as like some of my other brands, my go-to brands. So that's why I'm gonna say this is a little bit, you know, not at the top, but again, these palettes moving forward are all ones that I really, really like. I just had to rank them somehow. So by ranking, I'd say this is lower, just again, because of the staying power of some of these shadows. So, but nothing wrong with it for the price. I think this was like 18 bucks, so can't complain. Yeah. So, all right. So next, I think we're gonna go with ColourPop. I have a bunch, you know, ColourPop releases, different collabs and launches like every day, twice a day. I don't know, I can't keep track anymore, but I kind of grouped all these together. Overall, I do really like ColourPop. I like their formulation. I like their color stories. I like their price point. For the most part, I've had a really good luck with ColourPop. I've had a few that, you know, are hit or miss, but for the majority, for the most part, I really like their palettes. So I got a bunch of these little 9-pan palettes, and I'll just kind of show you quickly. I have So Fly. This is a newer one I bought. Really pretty. I have found with a lot of these though, I've had to kind of mix and match them. One that I really did like is this Feelin' Bubbly. These have really, really nice like shimmer metallic shades in there, and that's just a nice like everyday neutral palette. I have really enjoyed that one. By the Rosé. Again, a really pretty palette. It has those rosy tones, and again, I think this is just the theme of spring, is these rosy pink tones. It's just the thing, I don't know, but I have really enjoyed that palette. It's really, really pretty. What surprised me is this Brooklyn Nets palette. I only got it because, again, you know, I had to get like so much for free shipping, whatever, I don't know, right? There was a sale, something, I forget, but actually these tones really surprised me. I like these neutral, like kind of cool leaning palettes, colors. I put this the other day and I was like, wow, I was really surprised. Now the gray tones I'm not really as into, but this taupe shade right here, really, really pretty. And then this was really nice for like the inner corner. That was really bright, like, woo. But yeah, I was surprised. I actually really like that palette. And then this all amethyst, I've heard some people have good luck and some people have bad, so it's kind of hit or miss with this palette. Mine is okay, but again, just being so purple based, I did have to use this as a companion palette. I did have to reach into another palette, and I did notice some of these shimmer metallic shades were a little bit powdery. So again, yeah, I don't know if that's my favorite of the 9-pan palettes, but it's okay. And then this Glow Getter one, another really pretty. This really, this like seafoam mint shade is really, really pretty. Made a look with this, but yeah, those tones are like my like neutral transition shade, deepening shades. Those are just my colors. So I really do enjoy this. I've gotten some use of that and really, really enjoy it. And then my two favorite, I got the Rock Candy, one of the mega palettes. I think these are 30 shadows. Yeah, I think they're 30 pans. But this one, I was kind of concerned because I thought it was going to be too similar to some of the other ones I have. And again, I mean, there are, I'm sure, are some repeat shades. It does have some of the color stories. I mean, that's just ColourPop. I mean, they use, you know, kind of redo the same color stories. But I really, really like this palette. And I think I talked about this in another video, but this color Pep Talk right there, such a pretty purple, like cool tone purple. It was so pretty. I was so surprised by it. Now, the only thing is it does have, I think, 3 glitter shades. So if you're not into glitters, that might keep you from wanting to get this, but I honestly just bypass the glitters and use all the other shades. So I'm like 3 out of the 30, really not a big deal to me. And then the last one that I got, which I saw, I think it was Taylor Wynn. I think Taylor Wynn, I saw her talking about this and I was like, ooh, maybe I do want to pick this up. Gone Matte, and this is the 30 pan all matte palette, but I was like, ooh, yes, once again, I was like, the idea of having a matte palette I can reach into, use some of these other beautiful indie shades that I have that I don't get to really play with much. I was like, yes, I at least need a big, you know, all matte palette that can be a companion palette to other palettes. So yeah, so I was very happy to get that, but I'm really, really enjoying, especially these 2 mega palettes. I've been highly, highly enjoying those. So very glad I picked those up. And then Natasha Denona, I did get the Mini Crush palette. It is a cute palette. I mean, you know, I love Natasha Denona and I love her shadows just based on color story. And then, I mean, it's just a monochromatic palette. It's just not as high up on my list because I just, out of all these palettes I've tried, it's just, I don't know, it's okay. I mean, the formula's good. It's just, it's a monochrome palette. I have these shades time and time again, and I just didn't really see anything real special with it. But I did want to show you in case you have the Mini Love palette. So the bottom one here is the Mini Love, and then that's the Crush, the Mini Crush palette. So just wanted to kind of show you some similarity between the two. So if you already have the Mini Love, just to show you, probably aren't missing out if you didn't pick up the Mini Crush. But again, you know, Natasha and Denona is one of my favorite brands, one of my favorite eyeshadow brands. But just based on all this other stuff I have and the color stories and just what I like, it's definitely not at the top. But it's not bad. You know, I love Natasha and Denona, so it's not bad. All right, so these last few, again, are gonna be a little bit tough. I have Pat McGrath. This is the first Bridgerton palette. I do have the second one as well, but again, the second one I received in April, so again, these are just for the first quarter, so I'm not going to include that one. This one is really pretty. The reason it's not top, I mean, I do enjoy Pat McGrath's formulation for the most part, but when I think of like indie brands and I think of some of the other special brands and shades and shadows I have, I'm just like, for the price, I can find indie shadows that perform as well or better in some cases than this for this price point. So I'm like, it's just overpriced. I don't know, it's not that it's bad, but it's just overpriced. The special shades are pretty. The mattes, I mean, they do, her mattes are nice. I mean, they blend very well, but again, this color story, it's all pink and then like one little, like one blue shade. The blue shade's really pretty. That's like the special shade. But again, it's just not my top. So it's okay, but not top. Next, now again, this is gonna be where it gets really hard. Next is gonna be Odin's Eye and Angelica. This is her palette that she did in collaboration. Beautiful palette. Now again, the reason this is not number one, I love Odin's Eye, love their formulation, love their palettes, and sorry, I still have the little plastic thing on there, so I'll try to move that so it doesn't blind you. Love this, but again, this is not my color story. A little bit more grungy. Those pinks are a little bit brighter than I would normally go to. I mean, the multi-chromes, you know, metallics, all those shades are beautiful, and I do highly recommend this palette if you can get your hands on it. Again, just based off of color story, it's just not my top number one. So towards the top here, Kaleidos. I did buy the two quads that they came out with. Can't remember the name of the collection, but I'll list it below or in here. One of them is a brown palette, and then one of them is like a silver or cool tone. I guess they're kind of cool toned, but they are 3 mattes and then just one metallic shade. I have used the brown one and actually mixed it a little bit with the gray one and used both of their shimmer shades or metallics, whatever they are, and then a couple of the mattes I blended together just to change the tone. I actually really do like these palettes. I'm actually really impressed with them. I really do like Kaleidos though. I have several of their palettes that I really like. They're definitely one of my top indie brands, so definitely glad to have those. And then, this is hard. I really love Sydney Grace. You know how much I love Sydney Grace. So I did buy this palette. It is the Be Mine palette. It came out around like Valentine's Day. Gorgeous palette. This thing is just amazing. Love it. You know, I love Sydney Grace. The metallics are always just so good. You know, so pigmented, last a long time. The mattes, always easy to blend. I love this color story. I love those like kind of pink toned, red toned mattes. Those are just my thing. And then they do have some like warmer tones in here too, so depending on which direction you want to take it. But love this palette. It is definitely one of my favorite palettes that I've tried these last few months, and just love it overall. All right, so next, ooh, this is really hard. This is kind of maybe topped for number one. Ooh, I don't know. Let's see, hold on, let's look at this. All right, so next I'm gonna say Adept Cosmetics. I have the Plain Jane Remastered, which is like all special shades, metallics, those kind of things. So this would be perfect again to complement that all matte palette from ColourPop. But I do really love their formula. So it has nothing to do with formulation, nothing to do with, but for price point and the products that you get, it's just second and not first. So this is the Heather Austin. I did just recently do a review and tutorial using this palette for the first time. Oh my gosh, she is beautiful. Oh my gosh, these purple tones in here, like kind of purplish pink, those are my thing. That's just it. So I would say out of these two, the Heather Austin definitely has my heart. So that is number 2. Now again, it has nothing to do with formulation. I really do enjoy Adept Cosmetics, but those palettes are like $50 some, I think. And so that's why it's number 2. So like price for product, you know, if you base it off that. The number 1 for me is Simply Posh. This was a Lauren May Beauty made me buy it. So I love indie brands. I love finding new brands to try. I just love, and you know, they just have my heart. The formulation for the price. Now these are, I did get all 4 palettes that are recently out. I have the Cozy Cabin palette. Now it's harder for me to tell you which one of these is my favorite because I feel like I kind of combine them. But a very, very pretty palette. So you have mattes, you have your special like metallic duochrome shades, I think some of them are, and then more mattes. So, but I do like that you have almost like these, you know, columns of 3 trios that you can easily build, you know, simple looks or combine different things, and you can make, you know, your own look mixing different colors. But I really have enjoyed using these palettes. So that one is one of the combo of matte and metallics. This is another combo. This is their newest palette, which is Picking Peonies. And again, same idea where you can do the columns of 3, single, you know, like simple looks, or combine, mix them however you want. But again, another beautiful color story, supposed to be for spring. So, and again, of those kind of shades, it does have that grungier, those greens that I like if I'm gonna go for greens. And again, I know that sounds weird. I know the Hela palette from, you know, Odin's Eye is kind of the same thing, but again, some of those are like a little, I don't know, the color story is just a little bit more all over the place for me. So that, again, it's just hard for me to build looks. This is just a little bit easier for me to put color story together. And then the last 2 I have, which are both duochrome palettes. I have the Icy Chill, which sounds like they're not gonna come out or like restock this one till next fall, winter. Again, it is supposed to be a cool tone, like, you know, winter type palette, but beautiful. These shades are just gorgeous. And a friend of mine, Smithy Sony, asked me to compare these. So I think I'm gonna do a separate video. I'm just testing now to see what they remind me of. Just off the top of my head, if I had to really think, I would say It's Belle Cosmetics is coming to the top of my mind as far as similar price, similar formulation type of thing, you know. So, but again, I'll have to test this a little bit further to let you know. But that, again, just off the top of my head is the one that I'm really thinking of. But again, I mean, those big palettes, I think they're $35. These ones are $30. And I mean, just like how many shadows you're getting, special formulation. These are more duochromes. This is the Northern Lights palette. And this is the one that Lauren May had talked about specifically. That is what made me look into this brand. So I'm very pleased with it. I think it's beautiful. Those tones are just down my alley, up my alley, whatever the saying is. But I would say out of any of these, I would probably go for the Northern Lights if you wanted to try any of them. Again, because it is all of their special shades. I mean, the mattes are okay, but I mean, a matte, I don't know. I have plenty of good matte shadows. For me, I'm going to the indie brands for the special shades. So your metallics, your multichromes, duochromes, you know, toppers, all those special shades are what I'm going for. So I would recommend, if you're gonna try Simply Posh and you can get a hold of them, I would recommend Northern Lights. And then if you wanted to try one of the matte, you know, palette combinations, depends on your color story, but I really do like the Picking Peonies. I think that's a really, really pretty palette for this time of year. So I would recommend, if you're gonna pick it up now for like springtime, I would go Picking Peonies for the, you know, to try 2 of their formulas, and then Northern Lights for the special shades. So, oh my, okay, I made it. It hasn't clicked at me yet, so I think I'm under 30 minutes. Woohoo! So those are all the palettes I've tried for the first quarter of 2022. It was hard ranking these because, again, I think all of these are good. It's just, again, depending on color story, price, you know, formulation, the stuff that I enjoy is how I ranked it. So again, everybody's different. Everybody has their own opinion, so you might feel different than I do, but just my ranking. So anyways, that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. I'd love for you to join the family, turn on notifications, and yeah. Otherwise, I think I'm going to try to enjoy the day a little bit before I have to get ready for work. And I do really hope to see you again in my next video. Bye! That I've reviewed, or, you know, again, if you like this kind of content, please make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications. Don't forget to, I already said it, if there is anything specifically you'd like to know, like topper, sparkly, multi, I mean, like Not that there's anything wrong with this per se, but it's just a little powdery and really nothing that exciting about it. And I'm not really into blues. That's what I'm looking for. I can't think, whatever. Anyways, it's like all pink and then one little purple shade. So next on my list is oh my gosh, that was definitely like a speed. I'll try to do some swatches here and there if I can, but I just had to make this kind of quick because it was getting long. You know. Okay. Woo, we made it though. Enjoying my double espresso and my new Nespresso machine. Woohoo, woohoo. So we'll see. All right, have a good day, bye. I almost forgot those, oh my gosh.